Well, on to this Fox News alert. You know, President Biden might have been speaking, but it was former President Trump who was making the news. This just into Fox, first on our network, that President Trump is announcing that this week he will have raised $25 million. Tonight, there is a high-dollar fundraiser, as well as with the grassroots. You'll see Woody Johnson, the owner of the Jets there, among others. But interestingly, you know who will be at this big fundraiser this evening here in New York City? Tim Scott, Doug Burgum, VP contenders, before President Trump heads off tomorrow to Ohio, where he'll have a fundraiser with J.D. Vance, another VP contender. And as that news was breaking about the campaign haul, we also heard this, Paul Mauro. This was on with Clay and Buck Sexton. I imagine this must have been a pre-taped interview because President Trump's in court, but he said Tim Scott is in play, J.D. Vance is in play. These are all names that are being talked about, sort of like a lot of people are in play. This is the interesting part. I'm really a believer that you do it during the convention. So that would be kind of unconventional to name your VP pick during the convention, but Donald Trump knows how to drive eyes, keep a story going, control the narrative, and drive the news.
So to that point, let's compare what Donald Trump can do and is doing to what we just heard from President Biden, who, to my ears, came off as sort of fumfering, unsure. Occasionally he roused himself, but he's slurring, et cetera. It goes to, let's tie this back to the current trial. Two things. First of all, we know there's a segment of the population that says that they won't vote for Trump if he's convicted. I'm a little skeptical of that, but it goes to something else. In my prediction, if they get the F word here, felon, attached to Donald Trump, that will be the Biden campaign's excuse not to debate. Because one next to the other, too stark a difference, too stark a distinction. And Donald Trump, frankly, will just run rings around them because when we saw Joe Biden come off script at the State of the Union, which was supposed to be his great big, comeback tour, the only time he came off script, because he was reading that State of the Union, the only time he came off script is when he fumfered, right? He started calling Laken Riley, Lincoln Riley. He got a little unsure of himself. They can't afford that. It'll be a death knell in the debates. If they can put the felon word on Donald Trump, I predict they're going to use that so that he doesn't get up on stage with Donald.
I think that's spot on, Kennedy. You know, President Biden, he was energized during the State of the Union. He got a lot of praise for that speech. But in what we just watched, his remarks, I mean, he was saying over and over again, like, I'm wrapping up here. I just can't imagine him standing vis-a-vis Donald Trump, who's more on message than I've seen him in quite some time, in this candid, unscripted environment.
It actually has been an organizing source for him, the trials and the reaction, because he only has a certain amount of time, and he has been much more disciplined with his message. I think the Veep thing is brilliant because, as we've seen with Governor Kristi Noem, sometimes these potential VPs implode of their own doing. So he's giving more people time and runway to make a case for themselves, but also to fumble and stumble and get themselves out of the way, out of the race. He really doesn't need anyone else right now. And, Joe Biden he's got Kamala Harris, and she is an anvil around his neck. Her poll numbers are worse than his. So the former president could name just about anyone at the convention in July and still do better.
All right, you're talking about things that are simultaneous to today. Earlier today, right before the House Speaker, Mike Johnson, spoke, the campaign for Donald Trump sent this out. My next vice president will be decided by you, all caps and highlighted. Who do you think my VP should be? Alert, cast your vote. Everything I do for you. So they were sending out campaign-type messages as the surrogates were stacking up to the microphone outside the courthouse. It is an interesting way to play the political game, and we'll see in November who wins.
If only we could have The Apprentice, the Veep stakes.
The Veep stakes.
Kind of like that.
Yeah, and in politics, look, when you're driving the narrative, that is no small matter. And for weeks, we continue, as you're looking there at the courthouse, this man, former President Trump, is driving the narrative. We wait to hear from him. We'll bring you all the latest straight from the courthouse here on Fox News.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.